The first question comes from Ryan C. in La Jolla, California. What's up, Ryan? The question is, should I price my home at market, above market, or below market value? Great question. We deal with this all the time when we're talking with people that are thinking about selling their home. And pricing is a strategy. It's not a valuation. In fact, if you're talking to a real estate agent right now, and the question that you find yourself asking is like, hey, what do you think my home is worth? That's a valid question, but that would not be what I list the home for. Pricing is nothing more than a marketing technique or tactic to get the most amount of buyers to your home at any given time. And so if you know that pricing is nothing more than a marketing tactic to get more buyers to your home, there's really only three ways you can price your home. There's event-based pricing, which means we list your home just a little bit under market or maybe a lot under market, depending on the market that you're in. And because we list low and we really push the marketing as hard as we can, it generates a lot of interest. It generates a lot of scarcity, generates a lot of FOMO because the home is such a good price that you have to take action right now. And when done correctly, that creates a lot of activity very quick. People get multiple offers, and then you take those multiple offers and you drive that price up. We call that event-based pricing. You've probably seen this like in the auction world, like they always start low and they get every people excited. Like nobody gets excited for an auction that starts at valuation. They're like, well, there's really no reason for me to be a part of this auction because the price of the home is already set. So auctions don't work when they do that, right? That's why like no reserve auctions do really well because people, they have this thing in their head where they're like, oh, there could be a chance that I could steal it, right? That's really important to understand in regards to the psychology of how people write offers. So number one is event-based pricing. Number two is market-based pricing. And so that's when we take more of like an appraisal approach to pricing the home. And that's looking at all of the comps. What did the last one sell for? What's listed for right now? And what's kind of that median to upper median range that we feel comfortable with, that we can find one buyer that sees the value of the home, that writes an offer that's a really strong offer, closes relatively close to or at list price, and we can be done with it really quick. This works really well in a lot of neighborhoods where the turnover is decent, but maybe you are the only home for sale in your neighborhood at that given time. There's no other competition. You see, real estate sells locally. We want to believe that the macro numbers affect the micro market. And in reality, it doesn't. If somebody's considering moving into your neighborhood and you're the only home for sale, yours is the home they're going to play ball with, right? So that's market-based approach. The third one is probably the least common out of all of them, and it's called aspirational-based pricing. And what aspirational pricing is that maybe you've got like a really unique home. Maybe it's like the best home in the market. You know, you hear realtors use terms like the crown jewel of the neighborhood, right? I hate that term. Like the crown jewel of the neighborhood and location. It's like the two biggest terms that real estate agents put in the descriptions that I can't stand because we overuse it. So everything is great location. Everything is the crown jewel. Everything is honey, stop the car and all that stuff. But let's say that you do have the home that's the most unique of the neighborhood and unique in a way to where it's got very, very high demand. Then I think it's okay to price your home aspirational, meaning like, hey, we have something unique. You can't get it anywhere else. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity and we're going to shoot for the stars. You'll notice a pricing strategy that I didn't give you today is the one where somebody lists a little high to leave room for negotiation. 99 times out of 100, that is a failed strategy. So if you find yourself saying like, well, I really want $550,000 for the home, so let's just leave $600,000. Let's list it at $600,000. That way I've got $50,000 in playroom. When you overlist or overprice your home, you are diminishing your ability to identify a buyer, and you're diminishing your ability to actually get a buyer excited about your home. So I would not list high, leave room for negotiation. That is a failed strategy. I would much rather you hire a real estate agent that really understands how to drive a buzz around the home, get a whole bunch of people, interested right away, and use the event-based pricing model and have the clients or the prospective buyers bid against themselves so that we can drive the price up. The hardest buyer to negotiate with, I'll leave you with this in this section. The hardest buyer to negotiate with is the buyer that's the only one offering on a home that's been on the market for 150 days. There's not a whole lot of leverage the seller has in that moment, right? So we really want to make sure that like speed is our friend, and if possible, we can get as many people interested in that home as possible. As a homeowner, I know that you guys value your home. I know that this is the home that you create memories in. I know there's a lot of like attachment to it, but understand that once you make the decision to sell that home, it is now an asset that we are trying to maximize so that the next person can enjoy it like they did. And there's no easier way then getting a ton of people interested in using event-based pricing. So, Ryan, I hope that was valuable. If you have any questions, use the contact form below, and I'd happy to give you clarity on that. Based on what you know, thinking about selling your home, let me know. You should work with one of our partners. But that's what I would do if I was pricing my home. Use one of those 3 strategies.